Why waiting until it gets busy is the most expensive mistake contractors make. If you're a contractor or a home service business owner waiting until it gets busy to start marketing, I want to show you why that decision feels safe in the moment, but quietly puts you behind long term. And no, this isn't a pitch. It's not about spending more money. It's about understanding how timing, attention, and positioning actually work in your market. I hear this constantly from contractors and home service businesses, especially during the slow months. We'll turn marketing on when spring hits, or we'll wait till jobs pick up in the spring, or it's slow season now, we're fine, we're gonna coast. And listen, that thinking isn't stupid, it's logical. If you assume marketing works instantly. But most contractors and home service business owners don't realize that that assumption is exactly what keeps them stuck in the same seasonal cycle year after year. So let me ask you something. When spring hits, do fewer contractors start advertising or more? Exactly. More start advertising then. Now, here's the follow-up question I want to pose that most people never actually ask themselves. When everyone is advertising at the same time, does attention, which is the number one asset, attention is the new capital, does attention become cheaper or more expensive? What do you think? It becomes more expensive because more people are competing for it. And when attention gets expensive, who usually wins? The contractor who just showed up, or the one that people already recognize because they've been seeing consistency show up time after time? So here's how buyers actually decide. Something that most contractors and home service business owners don't necessarily think about is that homeowners don't just wake up one morning and say, today I'm going to choose the best roofer, or I'm going to build my house today. They choose what feels familiar. And familiar, it is what feels safer. Familiar faces feel trustworthy. And that familiarity is what's built up before that urgency to take action actually hits. So when a storm comes or spring hits, they don't start researching. They remember who they've been seeing consistently show up time after time. It becomes education without pitching. Marketing doesn't work like a light switch. You don't just flip it on Monday and then dominate by Friday. There's time and compounding effort that goes into marketing. The positioning, then there's messaging, there's trust building, then you test, and then grab the data and adjust and make hypotheses and test them. And all of that happens before your phone even rings. And the contractors and home service business owners who win the busy season didn't just start marketing during the busy season. They started well before when it was quiet to build up that familiarity so that when they do go to book, they've already been seeing your stuff. So these are the consequences of waiting. When you wait until it gets busy, here's what actually is happening in your business. Ad costs rise because everyone is competing all at once. Your message blends in because everyone sounds the same, and your decisions start becoming reactive instead of intentional. And now you're fighting for clicks and leads instead of being the chosen one. You're negotiating instead of leading, and you're competing on price instead of preference. And that breeds a false sense of safety when you wait. Because just because waiting feels safe, because you're not necessarily spending at the moment, the question that most contractors avoid is, what does waiting actually cost you in lost momentum? And I want you to think about that, because missed positioning doesn't show up on your P&L. It shows up when you're scrambling to fill the schedule. It shows up when competitors become the default choice just because they've been showing up consistently and you're still starting to explain who you are. Seasonality is just a system. It's not a law. Just because others are in a seasonal position now doesn't mean you have to. Seasonality isn't a rule. It's just a system. And systems can be changed. The contractors who break free from that feast and famine don't magically get lucky. They stop letting weather dictate when they show up, and they start deciding when their own growth starts with a predictable system because they've built brand. Brand is associations, and that's how people buy. They make that association of who they've seen over and over again. And sometimes you just use slow months to build leverage, not excuses. And the correct way to think about marketing is the smartest contractors don't market when it's busy. They market so it gets busy. And then they continue even when it's busy. Nike doesn't stop marketing because they've made a bunch of sales. Contractors tend to use slower months to dial in, the good ones tend to use the slower months to dial in their messaging, build authority, warm up the audience, and see what's working for conversion. And then they walk into spring positioned ahead of everybody else. And that's how you stop letting seasonality decide your future. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, maybe waiting isn't the advantage that I thought it was, good. I'm glad that this video provided some value to you, because that realization alone puts you well ahead of most contractors and home service business owners in your market. And if you ever want help with that positioning before the rush and other contractors are coming to the market, not actually during it, you know where to find me. So don't wait for busy season to decide your growth. Decide your growth now and then let the season catch up to you. When you start now, you build the visibility, you build the trust, and that's how your ideal projects come to fruition, and that's how you stand out beyond any other home service business in your market. So if you want to take another look at your business and kind of see where we might be able to help with that or shed some light, gain some clarity on that insight of the realization that you just had from watching this video, there will be a link in the description down below. Just go ahead and book a call. No pressure. We're just happy to take a look at kind of where you're at and what you're thinking. And don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you're notified when more valuable content like this is released. So I hope you have a blessed day. We'll see you in the next video.